Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Helen, one of the mums from Mum Needs to Know, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my experience through my first trimester after having IVF. So we chose to go down the IVF route over IUI for a number of reasons, which I will cover in a whole other video, and I'll leave a link to it in the description below. But this is just how I found my first trimester after having IVF. So while there are plenty of similar things compared to a normal pregnancy, there is a lot of things that are also different. Some feelings you might have, some things that you might not notice, or things that are kind of trumped by the fact that you're on certain medications and tablets and things like that. So I thought I'd run through my experience so I could show you and share with you how I felt and what I felt, how things were for me, so then you can feel maybe less alone and maybe a little bit more, comforted by the fact that somebody else is going through the same things. So one of the main things was due to the injections of the IVF, my stomach still felt very sore while I was wearing trousers. Anything that cut across my waist or the area that I'd been injected into, so I found that quite hard to wear anything that were really kind of cut into that area, so I kind of stuck to joggers and low-rise trousers just so then I didn't have to worry about anything kind of rubbing against that area. And this was something that was while I was doing the injections and then a little bit afterwards, just while the bruising calmed down. So if you're feeling that way or if you felt that way, then don't feel like a bad person, don't feel like you're dressed wrong or anything like that, because it's completely normal. It's just something that happens, and it's just a part of your body saying that it just needs a little space, and it's completely normal. So something else I noticed, that one of the injections I had would often cause me a small rash, which was completely normal. It was something checked out by the doctors and nurses at the clinic, and also was in the pamphlet have said it was a normal thing that occurred. So if you're having this kind of symptom and it's just a small patch around where you've injected, it is normal. But if you feel like it's aggressive or it's really sore or more than it should be, then do get in touch with your clinic or your doctor just to make sure you get it checked out and it's nothing more serious. So once we found out we were pregnant, I had to take some progesterone pessaries, which are a type of hormone that your body naturally produces during the first trimester, but due to IVF it can be a little bit delayed. So it was something that I had to take for up to, I think it was 10 weeks maybe, 8 to 10 weeks maybe, and I found there was a lot of symptoms along with taking those, such as extreme bloating in my stomach, which also caused me to not want to wear jeans all that much or anything that cut across my waist. I found it really hard to find anything that was comfortable to wear, so I generally wore low-rise trousers, anything that was stretchy, and baggy tops and jumpers, just because I found that most comfortable. So if you're having the same sort of problem, if you are on the pessaries as well, you will notice that you do have some bloating. You might feel like you've got a lot of trapped wind, and so there is a couple of exercises you can do to help that. But it's all these things. I read that water really helps, like just drinking water really helps get rid of the trapped wind. So maybe try that. But yeah, it's completely normal. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Wear what you feel comfortable, whether that's joggers, leggings, dresses, whatever suits you the most, that's what you should be wearing. Wear what you feel comfortable in, because this is the time that your body really needs kind of like the space and just like a little added comfort just to get you through that first couple of weeks, and then things should calm down once you stop taking the pessaries. So I've just had my first midwife appointment, and during that she mentioned that I should be taking more folic acid than I currently am, and that's due to my IVF. This is not medical advice, but this might be mentioned with your midwife or your clinic, so make sure that you're taking the right amount and double check with your doctors and everything to make sure that you're getting everything you need. Of course, the first trimester in any person is very much tiring. You kind of have a loss of appetite or an increased appetite. You want certain things, you don't want certain things, and there's a lot of other changes that go on. And so these are all normal as well. Once you start kind of getting into your pregnancy and getting kind of settled in, then you'll notice these things kind of like really peak. I noticed that around 11 weeks, I noticed a real peak of tiredness. I was completely drained. My body was really not kind of taking it well, and I just couldn't kind of keep any kind of attention span. I was really tired. I really just wanted to eat really odd foods or really simple foods. I didn't want anything too flavorful. So I kind of spent a lot of my time just sat on the sofa, napping. I did a lot of napping. But that was like a peak. It was like 1 week where I felt really, really rough. And then before then it wasn't too bad. And then afterwards it's not been too bad. So it was like all kind of condensed into that 1 week for me. It was really, really bad. So you might experience something similar. It's nothing to be worried about. I checked it out with my midwife and she said it was normal. So all these things you've just got, to look forward to. So up until the 7-week scan at the fertility clinic, which is called a viability scan, this is just to make sure that the embryo is in the right place, it's not gone somewhere it shouldn't, and it's growing at the rate it should be, and all the different little checks that they want to do just to make sure that you and the embryo, baby, are growing well and just kind of keeping well and healthy. And this is just to make sure that everything was successful, everything's going the way it should be, and then you can be, if they're happy with the progress of you and the baby, then you will be discharged. So up until this point, we were very kind of like down the middle. We'd not got excited, we'd not got kind of like down, we'd not thought anything too much about either way. We were very much like down the middle. If it happens, then it's great. If it doesn't, we can try again. And we were very much kind of trying to not try to get too excited about anything or too down or about anything. We were just really trying to be on the fence with every kind of decision that we had to make. And so when we had the scan, it was such a kind of like highlight. It was so nice because everything was, you could see straight away, and it was just such a relief to see that something was there, and kind of like having a confirmation that yes, even after doing 20,000 pregnancy tests that came back positive, at least you had something, a picture that it was there. So yeah, that is something you should really prepare yourself for, because it might not be where you want it to be. It might be in a place that's a little bit trickier, or there's a lot of things like that while you're still kind of in the process. And in that 2-week wait, it's very hard not to get too down or not to get too positive and too excited, and it's really hard to kind of keep a very focused mind. So just keep that in mind when if you're in that time period. It's very hard to not be carried away, and just make sure that you look after yourself, you're eating well, you're getting plenty of rest, don't do any heavy lifting. Maybe don't do any lifting at all. I wasn't allowed to lift anything. I think even a knife was too much for me at that time. But yes, so just make sure you take care of yourself in that 2-week time period. You might also find that you kind of struggle to understand whether you should tell friends and family or not. We generally waited till the 12-week mark before we told wider family, just to make sure that we knew that everything was okay, everything was going in the right direction, and we were kind of out of the danger zone. We did tell immediate family, like my sisters and my parents, and same with Cora's parents, just because they were kind of involved from the beginning, so they were very much there for us if we needed them, and if I needed to be taken to an appointment when Cora couldn't or things like that, they were very much there for us, so they knew from the off, and they give us the space when we needed it. They didn't pester, and so if you are in this time, or you're looking at going through IVF and you're a little bit uncertain of how to handle friends and family and kind of things like that, then look at telling the people that need to know, and then kind of keeping everybody else in the dark. It's what we did, and it was probably the easiest way, just because then at least we didn't have to let anybody know if it didn't work. And then the people that did know were understanding of why, and they didn't need an explanation, they didn't need a story, they could literally know, and that was that. So choose your people wisely that know when you're going through the process, because you still want the support there. You still need somebody else to talk to other than your partner, because you both need somebody else on the outside of the situation to help you through it. And each obviously situation is different depending on the reasons for IVF. Obviously for us it wasn't actual fertility problems, it was just the fact that obviously we're two women, we can't create a baby with just eggs and eggs. So it was a little bit different for us, and so it depends on your situation personally and how you feel and who your people are that you want to involve in the process. One of the things I was really pleased about was the fact that my appetite didn't really change until I really started to settle into my first trimester, towards maybe, it was well after the 7 to 8 weeks mark. We found out when we were 4 weeks, because it was taken from it's obviously taken from your last period. So we found out then, and so we thought we were only 2 weeks, but you're actually 4 weeks, and it's complicated, but yeah, that's the situation. And so the first thing I craved was jelly sweets, and then mini cheddars. But that was just a small thing. It wasn't anything like, I really need to eat it all the time. I didn't have anything like that for quite a few weeks, until, like the 7 or 8, maybe even 9. It was like the very back end that the cravings really kind of kicked in. So you might feel the same, or you might not have any at all, or you might feel like you might have them straight away. I think with me, because I was on the progesterone pessaries, I feel like a lot of maybe the early symptoms of pregnancy were kind of discarded or disguised due to the symptoms and the what do you call them, side effects of the pessaries. So like the bloating, like trapped wind, some other things. Like I didn't really feel much nausea until I'd really finished the pessaries, and I didn't really start feeling the pregnancy symptoms that are often written in the books and so on. I didn't start feeling those until really after the pessaries stopped. So I think a lot of the things on the pessaries I kind of put down to the pessaries, even if they were pregnancy symptoms, just because I was still being very kind of down the middle about whether it was it had worked and if it was still working and everything like that. So I think anything that I might have been like, that's a pregnancy thing, I put it down to the pessaries, just because it was easier to kind of put it on that than get my hopes up about being pregnant and then not being. So things like that, you might feel like that as well. So make sure you read, if you do have to go on the progesterone pessaries, make sure you read the side effects and symptoms, and just kind of make sure that you're aware of what those can do to your body, just from a health and kind of like if you need to contact your doctor because something's not right kind of situation, but also because it helps you kind of justify your feelings. A lot of the things, obviously, I said I put down to the pessaries, where it could have been pregnancy, but it's all up to you and how you want to perceive it. But yeah, that's kind of that's how we felt about it all. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to our story. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.